Turn one soul ring.
Okay.
I really like Star Wars.
we can talk about that, my friend. OG expanded universe.
All right.
Okay. Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Turn One Soul Ring, the podcast where we talk about the Commander format and all things Magic: The Gathering. I'm Kevin Smith,
And I'm Eric Grenfell.
and well, before we get to the main topic of the show, have you played any Magic lately, Eric?
I have. Not paper, though.
No.
We're in that Magic Arena. So I've done some sealed and I've done some drafting. I haven't done any constructed stuff yet. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the format seems pretty... It's interesting. Planeswalkers definitely mean a lot. Proliferate's a pretty big thing.
Yeah, I wonder if we'll see a lot more Infect in Commander.
Maybe.
Because of all that we have like Proliferate on a land now.
Yeah. Also, that the blue creature, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you proliferate. That's pretty sweet.
Or Evolution Sage, whenever you put a land into play.
Oh yeah, proliferate. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about putting that into Lord Windgrace.
Yeah.
Well, I actually went down to game night. Game nights.
I think it's game night.
Game nights. Yeah,
One of
a
our
K.
Yes.
Yeah, it's one of the several
LGSs
that we have in our city.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people say, a lot of shows I listen to say they have only one, but I think we have about 5.
I think so.
There's like a Musin, Galaxy, Fusion, Game Night.
Muse.
Is that it?
Muse, Game Night, Galaxy, Fusion.
Oh, there's also Play and Trade.
Play and Trade. There we go.
That's the other one that's like, might as well be in a different city.
Good place, though.
It is good, yeah. I like to play there. But
so I feel like we're lucky to have 5.
We are, yeah, because
there we go.
We're not a huge city.
No.
Capital city, but not a huge city. It's
not
Canada.
By any means. We're in Canada.
We're Canada.
Up here, eh?
Yeah, I went down there and I played. I built a Tatiova Benthic Druid from Dominaria. It's like a lands deck, so I'm running 60 lands.
Ooh, what does Tatiova do?
She's 3 and a green and a blue, and whenever a land comes into play under your control, you gain a life and you draw a card. She's a 3/3.
Value for your land drops.
Yeah, and land drops don't go on the stack. People can't stop you. You know, it's great.
I'm drawing cards.
So I run about 60 lands, and I'm just drawing tons of cards, and my win con is Labman, and I just play a lot of extra turn spells, like Beacon of Tomorrows, so I can just keep shuffling it into my deck, or Nexus of Fate, Boogeyman of Standard, or at least it was.
It's still there.
It's still there.
It's still there.
Yeah.
Get out.
But yeah, this guy sat down, and he was just salty from the get-go. He sat down, and he was like, is anybody playing combos? I'd be like, well, am I playing, is what I described a combo? I don't think it necessarily is. It's just Labman, and you just draw a card. Is that a combo?
People always have this discussion about, like, what is a combo,
right.
What's not a combo, right?
Yeah.
And, like, I mean, if you end up going off and drawing many cards in one turn, you could call that a combo, I think.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah.
But, yeah, and I know what he means, right? He's like, I guess, like, winning in a way that is not combat, right?
You can still, like, combo into combat and...
You can, taking extra combat phases or...
Yeah.
Because even...
But anyway, like...
Yeah, because I think, like, I was going to say, like, winning with Triumph of the Hordes feels the same as a combo, like, feels just as...
It's also just, like, casting one card, and you're like, yeah, I win.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Which like, Labman says, you win the game.
Yeah.
Or the new Jace Planeswalker says, you win the game, which I also put in that deck.
I was going to ask if you did.
I did, yeah.
Perfect.
Redundancy, right?
We're there.
But yeah, he was just salty the whole game, and you know he's like missing land drops and just not having a good time. We played 2 more games with this guy, and he was not friendly, and you know, missing land drops, and he had a Ristic Study, and it seemed like everyone was always able to pay the extra one, just not giving this guy any quarter. So yeah, just don't sit down and be salty. I didn't even know why you're there at that point.
Yeah, like aren't you? I mean, I myself like to play Magic to have fun.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he just did not seem like he was having any fun.
All right.
Yeah. So you're going to run into those people sometimes.
Sometimes.
You know, but most of the time you run into people that are there to have fun, regardless of what kind of deck you're playing.
And actually play the game of Magic.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah, anyways.
Don't be salty.
Yeah, don't be salty. You know what? Being salty is a bad political move.
It very much is.
If somebody like gets you or wins with a combo, the appropriate political response is good job or
Good game.
interesting card interaction. Let's play again. And then the second game, everyone just targets that person.
Yeah, because now you know what's coming, and
even if they change decks.
Yeah.
You still
because you won the last one.
Yeah. But anyways, today on the show we're going to be talking about how to play faster.
And more efficiently.
But just as a little disclaimer, the things that we're going to be talking about, a lot of these things aren't going to be allowed, nor should you do them in tournament play. And, if you're a brand new player, don't try to play fast because the game is complicated enough. And if you try to play fast, or if you're playing with people that want you to play fast, you might have such a bad time that you're not going to want to play it again. Yeah, so, playing faster comes through experience, right?
Oh, for sure.
And knowing your deck. Like if you have to tutor for a card, you want to be able to know what cards you need, know if you have it in your deck, know if you tutor for it, whether or not you can then cast it, right? You need to know all these things. You don't just want to be aimlessly searching through your deck because that takes time.
It does take time. And I've definitely found myself there sometimes when I make a new deck.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. But, even with a new deck, there are things you can do to speed up the game.
For sure. And we're not talking, obviously, about, having to play fast because everyone's on, a chess timer or something like that.
No, of course not.
No.
And, a lot of the things we're going to talk about are things that you can do in the early turns, right? When we get bogged down in all the different triggers that we have to pay attention to, when we're at turn 10, game turns take a little longer, right? Like we expect.
It just happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But before we get too deep into the main topic, we want to cover a piece of Magic news. So this is something that I found on Instagram today, and it's about apparently a lawyer in Atlanta, Georgia, is preparing to file a class action lawsuit against Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast for failing to honor a sales contract with customers who purchased the War of the Spark Mythic Edition box on eBay.
All right, so I know this is something that we have talked about before, this Mythic box.
They've had some issues, definitely. So I'm just going to read a little bit about this article.
Yeah, go for it. It's really interesting.
On May 1, chaos ensued upon the launch of the War of the Spark Mythic Edition box. Many orders failed to go process, and the 1,200 available units sold out in less than 5 minutes. Shortly after the boxes sold out, however, eBay reopened the sale of the Mythic Edition, leading tens of thousands of customers purchase non-existent Mythic Edition boxes. A statement by eBay said that those who ordered units that didn't exist would be reimbursed and given monetary gifts for their troubles. So they were selling boxes that they
didn't have, actually.
Didn't have.
Yeah.
Which is pretty slimy.
I would say so. Scummy, slimy.
So this attorney, Matt Wetherington, is filing the class action lawsuit against Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast on behalf of the individuals who received a confirmation of sale when purchasing the War of the Spark Mythic Edition box. There's a Reddit post detailing the lawsuit. Qualifications for the suit include customers placed an order for the War of the Spark Mythic Edition on eBay, received a confirmation email from eBay, had their order canceled, and have not authorized eBay to cancel the contract, says this lawyer, Matt Wetherington. Customers are saying they received an email from eBay asking them to cancel their War of the Spark Mythic Edition order due to the item being sold out. Super slimy. And
also, why would I have to cancel something that was sold out?
Well, they talk about that. So this is a violation of an initial sales contract made between customers and Hasbro / Wizards of the Coast on eBay. Wetherington states that if the order is canceled by the customer, then the contract is voided.
Okay.
So they were just
they're trying to get out of it.
Definitely, yeah. The law firm also says they are handing this case exclusively on contingency, meaning those who sign up with the suit will not have to pay any cost towards Werner Wetherington PC, which is the law firm.
Okay.
So that's good. According to Wetherington and the MTG subreddit mods, there is a copy of the preliminary suit and one will be filed shortly. So that's kind of where things are at right now. So, who knows what'll come of it. I'm sure if there's any validity to the lawsuit, Hasbro will just settle, right? They're a multi-million-dollar company, if not in the billions.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
And again, I just feel, why can't Wizards do something to get this right? This is now try number 3, and they're still not really there.
Yeah, the Hasbro store's useless. And,
completely.
They've done it on eBay twice now, and they've had problems both times. You'd think after, Magic's been around for 25 years, and Hasbro has owned them since the early 2000s. You'd think by now they would have a reasonable way to sell these things online. If they're not going to sell them at
LGSs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you would think. And I understand that obviously the reason they're doing this is because they're getting most of the money instead of going through the LGS.
They're selling singles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Mm-hmm. But still, if you're going to do it this way, have a way that us as the consumer can buy your product properly. We are the fans, and this is why we're here.
And, they only had 12,000 units. There's millions of Magic players.
Yeah, worldwide.
Probably
tons.
hundreds of thousands that would have purchased that product. So why not sell that many?
Exactly. And I don't know how they do limits and stuff like that. And there's obviously scalpers buying these things too, because that's just how the world works.
Right. And they did have restrictions on it the second time around about each eBay account could only buy 2.
Okay.
But, if you have multiple email accounts, you can have multiple eBay accounts, right? That's easy.
Like 20 different accounts.
Yeah, as long as you have the computers or devices to buy them at the same time.
You're just good to go.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so 12,000 units in 5 minutes just sucks.
Absolutely. Print more and sell them on a platform that can handle that much traffic.
Yes.
It's just disappointing when things like this have to happen. When people just want to get their cards.
Exactly.
All right. Well,
one other thing I wouldn't mind to mention, since we're talking about War in the Spark and everything, there's this Proliferate.
Oh yeah, they changed the Proliferate ruling.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. So why don't you read what it used to be?
Sure. Yeah. So Proliferate has been around since
I think it was 2000 and. It's probably 2007, I think. 2007, 2008.
Phyrexia block, right?
Yeah, New Phyrexia, Scars of Mirrodin, Mirrodin Besieged.
With the
Karn Liberated
and stuff. Karn, baby Karn.
Yeah.
So before, it read, you choose any number of permanents and or players with counters on them. Then give each another counter of a kind already there.
So this means that older versions of Proliferate only increased one type of counter, while the updated version increases each type of counter. And the new wording for Proliferate is choose any number of permanents and or players, then give each another counter of each kind already there. So do players get experience counters in Commander? Those experience counter commanders? How does that work? I'm just trying to think of an example, because if you have a poison counter, if Eric has a poison counter on him, and he's also playing an Izuri Claw of Progress deck, and he's getting experience counters for Izuri, if he also has that counter, and I proliferate with something, and I target Eric as a player to put more counters on it, the way Proliferate works now is I have to give him an experience counter and a poison counter, where previously I could just choose the poison counter. So it's a little more limiting, right?
A little more limiting. Also just streamlines things.
Just streamlines things. I think it makes it easier for newer players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the amount of situations where you encounter that, pretty minimal.
Definitely.
Yeah. Because -1 and +1 counters cancel each other out anyways.
Right, which is also a relatively new occurrence. Like that's only a few years old that they changed that kind of thing. But yeah, that also streamlined play, right?
Oh yeah.
Just less dice on your cards or pennies or you know what? I knew a guy who used to crumple up paper, little pieces of paper, and put them on his card. I offered him dice and he wouldn't take them, so I told him to get out.
That's
the last part's not true. But
that's an interesting one.
The paper is true.
It's like, come on, man.
Take the dice.
Take the dice. Let's make this easy.
He wasn't interested.
I like my paper. I like doing it my way. Okay.
Yeah. I wonder what he's doing now.
All right, so I think we should talk about a little bit about playing faster.
Yeah, that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Talking about playing faster.
Sweet.
Do you like to play faster, Eric?
Personally, I do.
Yeah, I think we both like to play fast.
I think so.
I think we're both kind of spiky. We both like more competitive play.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, let's kind of talk about why it's good to play faster before we get into how to actually do it. So
one of the big things is if you play faster, you can fit more games in a night.
That's definitely true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember when we played the C18 decks out of the box Commander 2018.
Oh boy.
I think that was close to, it was over 3 hours that game.
Over 3 hours for that one game.
They put a lot of board wipes in those decks.
Oh yeah.
Out of the box. And we already play with a lot of board wipes just naturally, but this was
whole new level.
Something else entirely. So yeah, you get to play more games, which is really what we're here for, right? We just want to play Magic.
I just want to play more Magic.
And with a Commander deck, you want to see more of the deck. You know, if you're only playing one game, you might only get to see a third of your deck,
or even like a quarter. Like
yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. So I think that playing faster makes you a better player long term. Could you kind of elaborate on why that would be?
I think I would agree with you as well. Making you a better player, basically, how we're saying this is when you're playing faster all the time, to be able to play faster, you kind of are learning the cards more and like learning what they actually do. And so this is getting you attuned with like the Magic cards more in general. And if you're trying to play faster and do your turns faster, you're thinking faster, your brain's like firing off.
Yeah, you're training yourself to engage with the game that way, and so it's like a muscle. The more you do it, the more easy it becomes. And
then also, like, I do find it even in a way a little more addicting, because then you're really in the zone and you're just like, I know exactly what to do here, and you're just like tapping all your stuff on your table and doing this and this and this, and it's like you're moving your hands, you're like playing the game, and it's like it's a lot more fun to be able to.
It's a lot more engaging.
It's a lot more engaging to be able to just go along your board if it's like a late game thing and you have like 5 or 6 things to do and you're just tapping everything. It's real fun.
And your opponents, it's more engaging for your opponents too. They'll watch you. They'll watch what you're doing.
Because then you see what's going on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is another reason why it's good to play fast. It keeps everyone engaged.
Yeah, which again can be a big thing.
Because if someone's taking a long time on their turn, they're not doing anything. Maybe they're counting their lands. They're looking at their hand. The phones start to come out.
Hands down. And like there was a group you used to play with, and sometimes like if you're taking 15 minutes, just 15 even maybe longer, just doing nothing, it's like, well, I'm gonna look at my phone and I'm bored right now. I would like to be playing Magic, but yeah.
Well, is that the group that we used to play in? Are you talking?
Yeah,
that's the group you're talking about. Yeah, that's that's where we met actually.
That's where we met. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
So I don't really have a problem with phones, but I want to talk about my phone logic,
sure,
if you will. So we've got all these senses. We've got a lot more than 5 senses, despite what elementary school would have us believe. But if you're someone that can pull out your phone and look at your phone with your eyes and manipulate it with your hands, but using your ears, you can still pay attention to what's going on in the game, right? You have a pretty good idea of card names, what that does. I play Heuristic Study. Okay, I know Heuristic Study does.
I know what that does.
Am I going to count Heuristic Study? No. right? You have a pretty good idea of what's in your hand. If you want to respond to anything, so you're paying attention with your ears, but you're still using your phone. I have no problem with that at all, right? Because you're still paying attention to the game.
Yeah.
But what I have a problem with is when someone pulls out their phone and then it comes to be their turn and they say, oh, well, like, what happened, right? Because they weren't paying attention. So, if you're that person, pull out your phone, do what you got to do. But if you're someone that can only pay attention to the game or your phone or whatever else, it's probably a good idea to choose one and go with that,
And if you're going to be choosing your phone and you're still trying to play Magic, it might be the wrong decision, I would say.
Definitely. And, I think despite what I've heard some people say about getting up from the table, getting up from the table when you just passed the turn, that speeds up the game. And I think it can speed up the game, but I think also if you get up, if I've just passed the turn to Eric to my left, and when I get back, hopefully it's my turn again, right? I think that's the thought process there.
Yeah, pretty much.
But then you have to go through everything. And if I wanted to counter something that, let's say Trevor's going after you and I want to counter something that he does or he did, do we let that happen? Because there's still another person going after me.
Oh, yeah.
So I think the best time to leave the table is when the turn has just been passed to you. And then whatever you're getting up to do, just do it as quickly as you possibly can. But in an ideal world, no one would be getting up during a game.
Yeah, totally. Because again, like when you're away from the table, you can't see what's going on.
You really can't pay attention then.
No,
you're out of the room, right?
And obviously emergencies happen and whatnot, and we all understand.
Of course. And I think the best thing to do in that scenario, if it's not your turn and somebody has to leave the table, just pause the game.
Yeah,
right.
Sure.
Because it's so much easier than having to go back and it's like, oh, Eric played Cyclonic Rift and I was in the bathroom. I could have countered it. It's like, well, are we really gonna?
Are we going back now? Let's go back 2 turns. Like, come on, man.
Yeah. So, and yeah, we can talk about that. Like that's sort of a take backsies, right? Or a takesies backsies. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that does slow down the game.
It does.
Because you're backtracking, and how far back do we go?
That's the thing.
Yeah, and I also think I think you mentioned this a little bit. It just feels good to play fast, right? Yeah.
I have a lot of fun playing fast.
Yeah, like that's what I really like about Modern is how fast the games are. Sometimes things can slow down, but
sometimes you can get in that grind and then like every single card matters, right? And it's just like if you make the wrong move, that could be the game. So sometimes you are there just like wondering what to do. Like I've had times where I take like a couple minutes to think about, well, if I do this or if I do this, you're just like, we call it a line is what you're like deciding on what to do, right? So, but more than not, it's just like a real fast game. People usually know what the cards are, and it's just really fun to just like.
Yeah, the meta is very defined.
Yeah.
Which you really can't say so much for Commander.
You can use any card.
Yeah, there's always a card that's like, whoa, what is that?
Yeah.
I got it. Can I see that?
What is that? I need that for my deck.
So let's move on and talk about the ways that we play faster, the ways that we've learned to play faster over the years. So something that is... Wow, this is just an episode that's just going to be me just talking about what grinds my gears. Which that's not what I'm doing.
Kevin, what grinds your gears?
I'm just trying to impart some things that I've probably done myself as a new player, that as a more experienced player I see, and it's the hardest thing to see your own mistakes.
Yeah. But at least if you learn from them, I think we're in a good spot.
Yeah, if you learn from your mistakes, then it's not really a mistake.
There you
right?
go.
Yeah. But before we even sit down to play a game, we've both had extensive experience playing Commander at our various local game stores.
Yeah.
And those game stores have varying levels of what I would say
Player base.
Player base, yeah. I was gonna say like grease factor, but that's a whole we could get into what that means. But so before we even sit down at the game, you're at a game store and they got tables together and they're calling names and like table one, so and so. And people have gotten there early and maybe they're playing some casual games.
Mm-hmm.
And they warn people when there's going to be tables in a few minutes.
Yeah.
And there are always those players that I don't know if their concept of time is bankrupt, but they just don't seem to have the urgency to get up and go.
Yeah.
So
I'm playing this game right now. This is what I'm doing.
Right.
Yeah.
And so they're calling tables, and you get to that table, and there's people either still playing or they're cleaning their stuff up. And it's like that kind of thing just doesn't need to happen.
No, player etiquette.
Player etiquette.
Yeah.
Exactly. Be ready to play when the time comes to play, even before they call tables.
Yeah, that's why we're here again.
Exactly. That's why they time the rounds.
Yeah.
Because we can't just play until we deck ourselves, right?
No.
We'd be there all night sometimes. I think we've all been in Commander games like that. That way
sometimes
if they didn't time, it's a good thing they're timing this because we'd be here for another 2 hours.
No thanks. I'd be like, Bob, you win. I'm out.
So when we're sitting down at the table with friends or with new people that aren't friends yet, what are the things that we want to have ready to go when we start pulling our decks out?
Well, your deck.
For starters, yeah.
But no, there was actually a time when I was playing a Commander game, and this guy had a lot of token producers and things like that.
What was his commander?
It was something Selesnya.
Like Riz the Redeemed?
I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So someone's playing with that commander. They have it in the commands, and when the game starts, there's no secret. You playing tokens, unless you're just playing him for the colors.
Yeah, which you're probably not. But he didn't have tokens, and he had a very few dice with him.
He didn't even have tokens.
No, and so he was just bored. And then for dice, he barely had any of his own.
Oh God!
And he just thought it was fine and just was borrowing things the whole game and
yeah. And that does slow down the game.
It slows down the game and stuff, and it's hard to see what you're doing.
Yeah, and it's like oh, you have a 6-sided die. I'm gonna tap this token.
Yeah, and
it looks the same.
It looks the same.
It's a 5. It looks.
I don't know if you have elephants or elves or wolves or whatever's going on over there.
Yeah, so that's not, and that slows down the game too. What is that? Is that an elephant? Is that an elf token?
Yeah.
Are you doubling your tokens?
So, and we can understand if you are making many, if you at least have 2 tokens out there to kind of show what's tapped and untapped and stuff, and we can still see the stats. Stuff like that's great.
Yeah, that's normally my my minimum, and you don't need to get real tokens. Magic produced tokens.
Yeah.
I've printed my own tokens. You can just take a piece of paper and you could keep track on a piece of loose leaf if you wanted to.
Yeah.
That's not ideal.
But basically, if you're playing one of these decks that you're going to have lots of tokens and stuff for, it's just nice if you come prepared.
Yeah, or if you're playing a deck where you're going to need a lot of dice for counters, like if you're playing an Experiment Crage deck, right?
Or Planeswalkers.
Yeah, you need a lot of dice.
Yeah,
exactly. I always have a lot of dice, and what I've started to do in the last year or so is I use D&D dice because you have more. I just prefer numbers. So
variety.
D20s are really good, but I like them because you can do multiples, like 3 digits more easily, and the numbers are much more clear, right? From across the table, like a spin down dice, right? They're not as legible as a D8 or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Or a D10. So just have anything that your deck needs that is not in your deck. Just have it ready, and it's so much fun because you can bling those things out, right?
Oh, exactly. You want some like really cool like metal dice or something like that. Like it's something extra.
Or like you can get foil custom tokens
Yeah.
online. Like you can find people like that on Instagram and Etsy that do those things, and they look amazing.
Super cool. If you really like some sort of show or something like that, you get that little extra.
Oh yeah,
Game of Thrones characters in there or something,
absolutely,
like...
yeah. And people are gonna, like your dragons deck, you get like your dragon tokens.
Oh, there we go.
Like Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And you're gonna make friends doing that because people are gonna be like, oh, that's so cool. Let me see that. Maybe I won't attack you now.
There you go. Politics. Hey.
No, they might still attack you
because you have dragons.
Yeah, 4/4 dragons. It's something I really like to do. And I learned this from another podcast, is sequencing your hand.
Oh, yeah.
So, when I draw my opening hand, or just anytime I put new cards into my hand, I put them in order from left to right of the cards that I'm going to play next. So let's say, I'm playing like Yisan, and I draw my hand, and it's like, I would sequence it like Forest, Llanowar Elves, Priest of Titania, Forest, because that's the order I would play the cards. It'd be like land, 1 drop, that taps for green. Next turn 2, tap the land, tap the mana dork, play a 2-drop kind of thing.
Yeah.
And, again, as turns progress and you have a lot more mana, it's a little more difficult to do that. Sometimes I end up putting my hand into 2 different piles. And especially once you have no maximum hand size and you're drawing tons and tons of cards, that gets more difficult to do. But, in the early turns, you have a pretty good idea of what you're going to be doing. Mm-hmm. There's really only one avenue that you can take, and usually you're trying to just play lands and ramp, right?
But yeah, it's definitely like a really nice little technique for people starting out and stuff to like. Even sometimes we still do it as more veteran players.
I do it every time I draw my hand. I do it when I play Modern. I always do it, and it's just it's almost like a meditative technique, right? You're just preparing for the game. It forces you to think about the lines that you can take.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Which just makes you a better player because you're visualizing what
you could possibly be doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And every time you draw a card, you just put it where it belongs in the sequence.
Yeah.
And the sequence changes throughout a game, right? It's not something that you can do the whole game reliably, but
it's like as the game goes on, turn 3, turn 4, somebody plays something. Maybe you'll change your mind on what you want to play, and then you'll shuffle around with your hand and like put certain things next and stuff. And I also find it's kind of nice because then it still keeps you a little more engaged with what's going on and things like that too. So,
and as the board changes in between the turn that your turn that just ended and your next turn, I'll find myself changing the order of things.
Yeah.
So that I can, because what I plan to do changes, right?
Oh, for sure.
So passing the turn as soon as you know that you're going to be finished. So, turn 1 you play a Terramorphic Expanse or a pricey or fetch land. Don't wait until it's the end step before your next turn to crack that Terramorphic Expanse, because the informational advantage you could gain from that basic land entering the battlefield tapped, or if it's a Khans or Zendikar fetch, that dual land, it's just really not worth the time that you're losing by waiting to search. It's a 100-card deck. It takes time to search, and it takes even longer to shuffle it properly.
Yeah.
So, just if you're done your turn, just pass it and crack it. And even if you want to put that land face down and say, I'm playing this, I'm cracking this on the end step before my turn, I reserve the right to change my decision.
But it's just a speed up gameplay.
It's just a speed up gameplay. And if you say that to people, if you explain that that's a way that you like to play to speed up the game, if they say, no, I don't like that, that's fine. You can
then you will just wait.
Then you will just wait.
Play that way,
absolutely,
sure.
because that's what the rules dictate.
But more times than not, people like it when you like to play faster. We get through things faster, and so
that's what I found.
Yeah.
So
it's also like tutoring, not just lands, but also there are other cards in the format that tutor 4 cards in your deck.
Yeah, black tutors for anything, green tutors for creatures. What does blue tutor for? Artifacts, instants, and sorceries.
Yeah. So when you're playing these tutors again, like obviously, it's best when it's done at someone's end step, so they don't know what you're tutoring for.
Right, because if it's not black, you have to reveal it.
Exactly.
In most cases.
So.
Yeah, I think we talked about that blue card, long-term plans, where you don't have to reveal it.
The one that you don't. Woohoo.
Yeah.
But we can still take this same thing from the lands and not revealing it.
Right.
So to go a little bit quicker.
Yeah, or using a top of the deck manipulation, like a scroll rack or a Sensei's Divining Top. More so with Sensei's Divining Top, I think makes more sense. It's like I'm going to top now, but if anything changes between now and my next turn, I'm going to look at those cards again if I need to and rearrange them. But I'm basically topping at the end step before my turn when you'd have the most information, right?
For sure.
That's why we do things at the end step before our turns at instant speed. So something that I like to do is, and I often have to request people, I'll organize my board in a way that is easy to see for my opponents. So, like piling cards, I don't really do that. If the name of the card and the text box is obscured, I like to avoid that. Lands, I like to lay them out so you can see every single one, so you can count. And I think like what happens a lot is we like to, when our lands are tapped, is we pile them up.
Yeah.
Just to save space, I think.
But that's one thing I've seen a lot, and
it's totally fine to just ask people. It's like, hey, would you mind spreading out your lands so that we can all see them? And you might have to ask people to do that a couple of times before they're not going to want you to ask them to do it again, and then they just do it on their own.
Yep. I have a big thing about keeping your board organized.
You often have a very nice organized board.
A little bit of OCD,
yeah,
maybe.
There's nothing wrong with that.
But just like having all the information available to everybody is really nice, and it can get tiring asking us like, hey, what's over there? Hey, what's over there?
Absolutely.
What's going on your board?
Yeah.
And sometimes people like to do that, and I've had a situation where I'll play something, it's like, oh, you can't because I have this card over here. And I was like, well, I couldn't see that because your board is a freaking mess.
It's a mess, yeah. Definitely, yeah. That's why I really love to play with a playmat. Like,
yeah,
those table long playmats they have at game stores.
Sure.
I'll still play with my playmat on those playmats.
Me as well.
I mean, Lord knows what's on those playmats. Sometimes
they've been sitting there a while.
They're like stains and who knows, right?
Who knows what kind of stain?
I think we've all pulled an inner sleeve off of a card and like held it up to a light and seen how dirty that is. Well, that's everything that's on the playmat.
So it's like, no thanks.
And that's just the playmat you've been using.
But I also like the playmat because it kind of gives you like an area, like a boundary and stuff.
Yeah, it's like an area of organization.
Yeah, exactly.
And sometimes you go over, right? When I was playing with my Tatiova deck the other night and I had, like 40 lands on the field.
Sometimes you go over.
I was like, excuse me, guys, if you need to ask how many basic islands I have, I understand.
We're going nuts here.
Rest assured, I will be able to counter any spell that's going to mess with this.
But again, I just think it's a little bit, again, like just being nicer to other players. Have your creatures and then like your enchantments and artifacts and stuff kind of grouped together instead of having them all mishmashed.
Yeah, that's and I try to do that too. The planeswalkers. A lot of times I'll put my my mana rocks with my lands.
Yeah.
But I've played with people that have requested that I put them together in a different spot, which is totally fine. You can
do that
because technically that's what we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, but yeah, I do like having the artifacts that tap for mana, the mana rocks,
or my dryad arbor with my lands.
Yeah,
being sneaky.
It's a 1/1.
I do though something that I do with Maze of Ith or other lands that don't tap for mana is I usually put them with like my artifacts and enchantments.
Right.
Because like Maze of Ith, I can't tell you how many times I've forgotten that I've had a Maze of Ith. I've lost games because I forgot that I had a Maze of Ith.
Because it's just with your other lands.
That's right. And like a Voltron creature is coming at me and I'm just like, yeah, it's fine. I'm dead.
I'm dead. And so it's not only beneficial for other people, sometimes it's even good for yourself.
That's right.
Because it's your information that you're seeing on your board.
And then those opponents can see that Maze of Ith, and they probably won't even want to attack you.
There you go.
Yeah.
Or they'll play a strip mine and get your Maze of Ith out of there.
Yeah, I can't. I have no response.
Yeah.
I guess I can stifle it.
Yeah. Guess so.
Yeah. Don't unstifle.
It's bad. Non-commander.
Unless you're gonna like put it on Isochron Scepter. So something else that you could do to speed up the game is when you sit down to play is just let everybody know that let's say you got to be somewhere or for whatever scheduling reasons you're requesting that everyone play fast. Let's play a fast game and maybe we can get in 2 games.
Yeah.
And most people won't. I mean, most people at a local game store will just agree to just about anything. But and then later in the game, if somebody's kind of playing a little slow, you can just kindly remind them that they agreed to play faster and to just kind of pick up the pace a little bit.
Yeah, it's like, remember, I got to be out, in 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Be nice to finish the game before I have to skedaddle.
Yeah, because when somebody just like drops out of a game, like that can totally change the game.
It messes things up a lot. Yeah.
It's like conceding at instant speed. It's sort of it's outside of the game.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really feel fair, right? So yeah, like we said, most people aren't going to mind that little reminder if you've sort of made that social contract before the game started. So something that I run into a lot, even playing with you guys, playing with friends, is passing the turn.
Yep, I hands down agree.
And it's just being vocal, right? And saying pass the turn or your turn or go. And something that I do a lot is I do a hand motion, right?
Yeah.
So I'll use my left hand or my right hand. Those are all my
Sometimes
hands.
both.
That's right. And I will throw it out the table at the person sitting across from
at them.
Yeah, or the person sitting next to me, right? Wherever I'm sitting on the table. They're either across from me or next to you generally, unless you're playing in some kind of crazy 5-person game.
Ooh, boy. But yeah, because like sometimes people are talking a little bit or something. But if you do like a hand gesture, that's something that somebody will see out of their peripheral vision or something. Be like, oh, what's going on over there?
Yeah, because we all miss things. We don't hear things because we're having a conversation. Exactly.
Yeah. And then, like, I've definitely seen it. Like, I know it's the beginning of the game, and usually you can't do anything anyways. But sometimes it'll be like turn 3, they'll play a land, and then not have anything to play, and just not say anything. And then we're all just sitting here.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's like, oh, can I go? And they're like, oh, yeah, I have nothing. You go.
And feel free to say, like what I'll say to people. I'll be like, is that a go?
Yeah.
Just ask people.
Is that a pass turn? Like.
Is that a pass? Are you going to do anything else?
Yeah.
And it's not a bad question to ask, right? I think probably everybody else at the table besides that player is thinking the same thing.
For sure.
So there's nothing wrong with being that vocal player and encouraging that.
We're here to play Magic.
That's right.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah. So having said all that, you. And I don't know if this is specifically to do with playing faster, so this might be a bit of a digression, but you definitely don't want to be the person that's asking, are you gonna pass the turn? Are you done? Are you done? That's one that's just like, oh, are you done? You know, it's like somebody, it's their first main phase. Maybe they attack.
Yeah.
And then, are you done? Right? The person, and I've played with people like that where
Every instance.
Every chance they get, or just about every chance they get. And, you know, I kind of want that player out of the game. Like, I will, you know.
You're putting a target on your back.
Yeah, you know, whether or not they are the target of the game, I will punish players for social infractions, rightly or wrongly. Probably wrongly. But yeah, so, you know, just because you started your second main phase doesn't mean you've ended your turn. And most experienced players that win a lot of games don't do a whole lot before they attack, right?
Usually not.
Yeah. Second main phase is where the big stuff happens.
Yeah.
And in Commander, we don't attack often.
I think sometimes people should attack a little more.
I think they should too. If somebody's open, that's a habit I've been trying to get into.
Yeah.
Because that also speeds up the game.
It does.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you never know what those points of damage
could mean later.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, like we said, there's nothing wrong with asking players if they've finished their turn. But, you know, just give them a reasonable amount of time before you start asking those questions, especially if they're new to the game. And especially if they're new to the format.
Yeah, because you can kind of tell when somebody is like that. And
absolutely.
It's better to help than to put them down all the time.
Absolutely, because it can feel like that. You know?
Can, yeah.
And I feel that when a player is being treated like that, and I think that I'm you know, my aggression towards the player that's asking, "Are you done?" You know, I'm just I'm taking one for this new guy.
All right.
So it is rightly.
Yes.
It is my bad behavior is justified. So the next topic we're going to talk about is knowing your deck. So we touched on that a little bit at the beginning, and you know, knowing what you need to search for, what you want to search for, what you can search for.
Yeah.
And knowing your deck can be difficult when it's a new deck, even for a seasoned player, right? We don't have photographic memories. In fact, I don't even think that's something they can conclusively test for. So let's just say no one has a photographic memory at this point.
Some can just remember better than others.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely. So something, and this might be an extreme case, but something that I did with a deck that I've had for a couple of years now is it's my Yisan deck. So
what is this Yisan?
Yisan, I think he's a bit of a EDH all-star. He was banned for a little while.
I forgot about that.
No, he's banned in 1v1, not CEDH, but he's good in all formats. But he's 2 and a green for a I think he's like a human shaman maybe. But what he does is he's a 2/3. And he lets you pay 2 and a green and tap him and put a verse counter on him. Then you can search your library for a creature card equal to the number of verse counters on Yisan and put that creature onto the battlefield.
Seems pretty good.
Is he a human shaman?
He's a human rogue.
Human rogue.
Real
okay.
close. Shaman and rogue.
So with that deck, you know, what I did when I built that deck is I made a list of the creatures in the deck that I could search for in groupings of converted mana costs. So, you know, the higher end of the spectrum, you know, the 7 and 8s, you know, your Vorinclex or your Craterhoofs.
That's pretty easy.
Those are easy because there's not that many of them.
Yeah.
At one point I was running like a Void Winnower and a Kozilek, OG Kozilek for just mill insurance.
Sure. I love Void Winnower.
So good.
Yeah,
great.
It's real annoying.
If you can get to 9 with Yisan, you know, like you've probably already won the game, but but you never know.
Just the extra beats.
Yeah. So that's what I did to, you know, remember my avenues for the deck. You know, I knew which one mana creatures I could search for. I knew which 2 mana creatures I could search for, you know, etc. And, you know, when I was first playing the deck, I would look at the list before I played it a lot, I would shuffle. I would look through the deck before I would actually sit down to play, and that's something that I don't really need to do anymore. Kind of no matter how much time passes between the times that I play the deck.
Yeah. Also, like creating one of those lists, you can always bring those lists and have it with you while you're playing.
Lots of people do that.
Lots of people do that. Nothing wrong with that.
You know what a lot of people do in Modern that I've seen is they have lists of what to sideboard against other decks.
Yeah.
Which is a really great resource.
It's a really great resource. Anyone can do that.
Yeah. I should do that.
I should do that too. I haven't. I'm just always like, I know what I'm doing. But
oh, yeah, I'll be fine. It's like, oh, damn it, I didn't put Board of Orbing in against a burn deck. I thought it would be fine.
But yeah, it can also speed things up and
absolutely
get you used to things more. So
yeah. Also, yeah, if you like having fun, just go ahead and build a Yisan deck because it's tons of fun, and you don't have to build it I don't have a combo deck. I win with Crater Hoof Behemoth.
Yeah, just get creatures out there, big creatures, boom.
Sometimes I'll you can win early with the Triumph of the Hordes. So
yeah,
that's fun.
But yeah, it's really nice because then you're not shuffling through your deck all the time, and sometimes you'll be searching for something that's already back at your turn. You've missed what's happened. You're still looking through things.
Yeah, and actually speaking of which, let's say you have ways to untap Yisan, or you have ways to search your deck multiple times in a turn, but those searches would be separate triggers. Let's say you're going to Demonic Tutor, and then you're going to, I don't know, not Vamp Tutor, because you're going to put it on top of your library. But let's say you're going to search for 2 creatures with Yisan in the same turn, but they're separate triggers. You can just ask your opponents if it's okay if you do both searches at the same time and then shuffle once. If I'm going to be ending my turn and the order of my deck doesn't matter and I've just searched it for something, I will just announce to my opponents, I will shuffle this. It's like I searched for a Soul Ring, put my deck down, I'll shuffle that momentarily, play my Soul Ring, tap it for mana, do some stuff, pass, and then I'll shuffle.
Yeah.
And most people are happy to accommodate that style of play.
Yeah, because you don't need to shuffle right away.
And shuffling takes a long time.
We got 100 card decks.
And I know you and I double sleeve them.
Yep. So it makes them even bigger. I will say a little story about I made an artifact deck. And so one of the tutors is Whir of Invention.
Oh, that's it's 3 blue and X?
Yeah, and it's an instant.
So good.
But the X is you're going to be tutoring for an artifact from your deck equal to what X is.
X or less, right?
X or less.
And it also has Improvise, which is, do you remember what Improvise is?
You can tap your artifacts to help pay for.
Oh, okay. So it's like Convoke, but for artifacts.
For artifacts. Yeah. So, but at this point, you don't want to overtap or something like that. And there were times where I wish I had my deck list or something with me when I first started playing that deck because I didn't know what the hell I wanted to tutor for. And,
I'll do that. I've done that with Green Sun Zenith
or
Court of Calling, or there's the new card from Or the Spark, Finale of Devastation.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, God, I can't wait to pick one of those up. So, yeah, definitely knowing the CMCs is very good when you have those X spells because you are trying to maximize the amount of mana you can use on a turn.
So definitely good to know your deck.
But if it's an instant speed tutor, just tap out and just go for it because you're doing it on the end step before your turn. So
anyways,
it's fine.
Maybe you have a counter spell you want to hold up. You're doing that when
you are playing blue, yeah. Just or just have a foil in your deck.
There you go.
Yeah, I think we talked about that a couple episodes ago.
Yeah, free counterspell.
It's the point, and it just got reprinted in Ultimate Masters, so it's 25 cents.
Time to get those foils.
Foil.
Or a foil, yeah, a foil.
So do you, Eric? Do you have any other play faster tidbits for the listeners?
A tidbit?
Or just a little
crumpet?
Tit for tat. Yeah, I don't know.
From what I can recall, I think we talked about a lot of stuff that I pretty much do.
Yeah, I don't know that there's a whole lot of other stuff that I do to speed up the game. I mean, sometimes it's just a slow game. We play with. I think we're kind of the faster players among our our various play groups.
Just to kind of boast a little bit.
Just to, it's just we want you to play faster. Spiky. Yeah, we want you to play faster because we want you to have more fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like getting to do more in a night, and sometimes and it sucks if you only get like 2 games in like 4 hours.
Yeah.
And so you didn't have good games. You're just like, it just feels like a bad night, and you like get to play Magic.
Well, despite that salty guy at game night the other night, we played 3 games and we completed 3 games. We didn't go to time. Wow. It was the 3rd game, and we were just like, wait, let's not start a 4th one
because was somebody playing combo?
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, we're both combo players. Yeah, like we say, the game has got to end. Yeah, let's wrap things up here. We're gonna start our monthly giveaway for June. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make an Instagram post for this episode, and it's going to be the giveaway is going to be for 3 packs of War of the Spark.
Fancy new set.
So you're going to at least get 3 Planeswalkers.
Yeah. Probably
more. So for the post, and the details for this are going to be in the post, but you're going to have to subscribe to the account, and repost, and tag us in the repost. And if you do all those things, you'll be entered for a chance to win these 3 packs, and we will do we'll determine the winner, and at that point we will start our July giveaway. I'm not sure what that's going to be. Maybe some Modern Horizons.
Maybe we could do like 1 pack of that, or 2.
Isn't it going to be regular price?
I don't think so.
Well, I've got a ton of prize tokens from Fusion, so
good to go.
Whatever, it's just it's free for me because I win so many games.
Oh, look at you!
If you guys want to get in touch with us and let us know what you think about the show, you can find us on Gmail at turn1soulringthepodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on Instagram at turn1soulring_the podcast. You can also find me on Instagram at Command Beacon. Yeah, and sometimes I do giveaways on my Command Beacon account, so stay tuned for those. Just thank you all so much for listening to us for the last hour or so. What do you think, Eric?
I think these people are wonderful.
Yeah, they're great, aren't they?
Well, again, thanks for listening, and have yourselves a wonderful night.
Go get him, Tiger.
Turn 1 Soul Ring.